So, before I get started, I want to tell you a little bit about how I came to be doing the talk today. A friend, a really close friend and I had actually done a workshop for women, teaching them the importance of self-care. And after the workshop, she and I were packing up and we were laughing and talking. And as we were talking, I was talking about the importance of my relationships and how I try to make myself available to people because that's a very important part of self-care for me. And so my friend turned to me and she said, well, we have a talk coming up on being connected to people. Since this is such a passion of yours, would you please do that? And I looked at her, and of course, I had just finished telling her what an amazing concept of friendship is and how much I like to be connected. And so the first thing I said to her was, I'm not doing that. My schedule is full. And as soon as I said that, I looked at her face. And she was looking at me and I said, wait, let's start over. If you give me some time to change my calendar, I will be there. And so that's how I got to be here today. So I work as a clinical psychologist and as a life coach. And over the past decade or so, I have been very passionate about talking to people about the importance of developing positive social relationships. I also train doctorate level and master level students. And one of the things that I've been doing and focusing on with these budding clinicians is I say to them, regardless of the theoretical orientation that you subscribe to, regardless of the therapeutic techniques that you use, it is that social connection, that relationship that you develop with that human being sitting across from you. That is one of the most powerful facilitators of change and healing. Why is that? It's because as human beings, we are neurologically hardwired for social relationships and attachment. Attachment can be defined as the meaningful relationship that you develop with someone else. And as human beings, that attachment is fundamental to our well-being and survival, even from a very early age. Now you have researchers who have been studying attachment. For example, Harry Harlow, an American psychologist, he studied rhesus monkeys. And what he did is he placed some monkeys in total isolation and some monkeys he put in partial isolation. And what his research showed is that the monkeys that were in total isolation developed significant psychological disturbances. The monkeys that were in partial isolation did better. The ones who were fully isolated, most of them died. Moving forward, another researcher, a child development researcher by the name of Nathan Fox, who was out of the University of Maryland. He studied the impact of social isolation on children who were placed in orphanages in Romania. He utilized MRIs to study their brain structure and EEG to study the brain activity. And what his research showed is that the infants who were institutionalized and did not have the opportunity to develop social connections, they experienced a negative impact to their brain structure and to their brain function. As a matter of fact, what was disturbing is that any time spent in an institution resulted in a decrease in brain cells for those children. So what made the difference? Social connection. We are neurologically hardwired for social connections. And so for me as a psychologist, it is very important to me and somewhat alarming when I've noticed that there's been a lot more disconnection among people. Now, I will tell you that I absolutely love technology. It excites me. So it's been a long time since I've gotten out of bed to turn off my own light. I clap it on, I clap it off, right? And I love technology so much. I'm married to a mechanical engineer. My oldest son is studying chemical engineering. My middle son is studying electrical engineering. And my youngest son terrorizes me with technology. Now, do you guys remember when you were younger, before we had this much access to technology, you would go to your parents and you would ask them questions like, why is the sky blue? What are rainbows made of? Are unicorns real? And your parents gave you the answer and you were like, they know everything. Now, not my youngest. He'll ask me a question, and while I'm answering, he's fact-checking me under the table. And I'm looking at him and I'm saying to my husband, I'm writing him out of the will. Until he starts to pay attention to how awesome I am with my information, he has to go. But even though I absolutely love technology, it has its good and its bad. You know, for example, it does allow me to talk to friends and family that may be far away. It also allows me to FaceTime my children at very, very inopportune moments. And it also allows me to find my friend, my husband. Not for what you may think. Let's say it's on a Friday evening and I've had a really hard week. I want a glass of wine and my wine cabinet's empty. My husband may be tired and I call him and I'll say, honey, please get me a bottle of wine. And he'll say, no, there's no stores close by. Well, Find My Friend says that you are 5 minutes away from that store, so could you please bring me a bottle of wine? So again, it's not my son's not the only one that terrorizes people with technology. But nevertheless, technology does have the other side to it, right? As a psychologist, I'm constantly studying people's behaviors. My husband says I'm nosy. But when we go out, I'm always looking at other people at dinner. And I've seen the couples, and they are sitting together. And in the past, they'd be trying to cover their faces while they sneak a kiss, while they're holding hands, spending quiet moments together. And what I've noticed now is a disturbing trend, where when they do get together and they kiss or they hold hands, it's so that they can take a picture and send it to social media. The intimacy that you normally see is not there. There is a falsehood associated with that because the real thing that they're trying to do is to get the likes. And then there are other times when I will see families, the parents and the kids, and everybody's eyes are stuck to a different technological device. I have to fight myself to not go over and say, you are missing an awesome opportunity to connect. There's a moment here that you are missing. There's an intimacy here that you are not taking advantage of. Did you know, and this would be me talking to the strangers, did you know that kids who are connected to their parents at the dinner table, that they have better language skills, they have access to better nutrition, they actually engage in less risky behaviors, they're less likely to use alcohol or drugs. So you're missing an amazing opportunity. And then I also want to tell the adults, you too are missing an opportunity. Did you know that people who are intimately connected actually have a series of physical and mental benefits? People who say that they have a significant number of social connections, they experience less depression, less anxiety, increased self-esteem. They actually have a better recovery rate from surgical procedures. They actually have a better recovery rate when they're diagnosed with a major medical disorder. So there are so many benefits to connecting. But I don't do that. I just sit there and think it. One, because it would be intrusive. Two, my husband would probably have to apologize to those people and drag me from their table. And three, my son is probably fact-checking me to see what I'm saying. So I don't do that. But nevertheless, I remain concerned about what I'm seeing, which is a trend of increasing social disconnection. And I'm not the only one. There was a research conducted by AARP. And that research showed that 2/3 of the people that they studied, they were aged 45 and over, indicated that they felt socially isolated and alone. But it's not just that age, because in 2018, Cigna conducted a study of Millennials and GenZs, and a little bit under 50% of those people that were studied said they also did not feel connected. Surprising, because social media is their domain. And when you look, some people have hundreds of connections. But again, it's important to realize that in the same way, being alone does not mean that you are lonely. Being connected, having lots and lots of social connections does not mean you are intimately connected. So that's very important to note. The trend in disconnection and the impact of it has been disturbing myself and other researchers so much that there are some researchers who are lobbying now to have isolation and loneliness declared a public epidemic, right along with inactivity, smoking, and obesity. There are times when I think to myself, I can imagine going into a doctor's office and I'm sitting there doing my observation. My husband says I'm nosy. I observe. And I sometimes wonder, I can see the thoughts in their head. And if there could be the little caption that goes, if there's not someone sitting there with a caption that says diabetes, one that says high blood pressure, one that might say cancer diagnosis, and one that might say I'm lonely. So, I want to talk to you a little bit, tell you a story about when I was living in South Florida. I like storms, I'm weird, that's okay. One of the reasons I developed a love of storms, I was in South Florida when Hurricane Irma hit, and it devastated South Florida. And we had no electricity, the supermarkets were closed, the gas stations were closed, and we felt like we were somewhat isolated. And when we came out as neighbors to kind of survey and see what damage had been done to our property, as neighbors, we started talking. As it got darker, one neighbor brought out a grill and started grilling. And then another neighbor brought out a grill. And then some people brought out food. We didn't want our food to go bad, and so we cooked that night. And we laughed, and we had fun, and we connected. The next day, we planned a block party. Anybody remember what a block party is? Yeah, so we had a block party. And we started planning our meals because we didn't want our food to go bad. So you have meat in your freezer, I'll bring the juice, and every evening we were there. Now imagine, some of us had been living next to each other for years, and the most that we did was raise our hand and wave. We were busy about our lives. That time when that storm forced us to disconnect, we connected on a real level with each other. I found that I had so much in common with my neighbor that I had been living next to. The children started playing together. When we did not see a neighbor show up to those cookouts, we knocked the door to see if that neighbor was okay. We'd never done that before. And then one evening, we were outside and we were laughing and we were playing cards and the kids were running around. I even put my kids on a bed next to me because I didn't want to go inside. This was amazing. And then the lights came on. So we didn't go inside. We were having fun, so we stayed. We stayed and we chatted. But then the next day, we came out because this was good. But as time went on, less and less people came out. And even though we had made a promise that this is great and now that we're connected, we're going to maintain this, as time went on, we went back to raving and going into our homes. We became totally disconnected and back to normal. is not normal. We are neurologically hardwired for social connection. That is not normal. So, I came out here, and as a psychologist and researcher, I would love to say, oh, I have given you amazing information that you've never heard before. This is cutting edge, this is groundbreaking. That is not true. On a certain level, we are all aware of the importance of being socially connected. We just don't do it. And even though in that neighborhood, we had finally decided to start to connect to each other, and we made the promises, when someone came back and said, hey, do you want to do that barbecue that we did before? The response was, I'm too busy. I don't have time. So one of the things that I'd like to do, as a reminder for myself, and also for everyone here, I would ask you to make a promise, a commitment, because it requires commitment, to do everything that you can to develop an intimate social connection to your spouse, to your children, to your friends and family, and to your neighbors.